recent news, and that is that the Jacksonville Jaguars and quarterback Trevor Lawrence agreed to a contract extension, 5 years long, worth $275
He's
million.
the highest paid now.
He is
Tied.
the highest paid, or tied.
He's tied with Burrow. They got the same
So
deal.
there you go. And of that $275 million for Trevor Lawrence, who was deemed a generational talent when he was drafted #1 overall out of Clemson, of those 275, he gets $200 million guaranteed. And when he put pen to paper, he officially got $142 million.
That's
So
crazy.
Must be
Kevin,
nice.
Man, it would be fucking
I probably
fantastic.
framed that fucking pen.
Oh,
This is a $100 million pen, goddammit!
Yeah, exactly. And Kevin, I'm going to toss this one to you first because you are our resident Jaguars fan of this panel, at least for a season.
Jaguar supporter.
Because of Dougie P. Yes, supporter is a better word for it because fan, as we know, is short for fanatic. Kevin is one of those for Philly, but not Jacksonville. Jaguar supporter, Kevin Dent. What did you think about this contract extension?
I loved it. I wasn't expecting him to get 55 and be up there with the likes of Joe Burrow, who has taken his team to a Super Bowl. But we've seen out of his first 4 years, we can really throw the first year out. And I know Shaun and I you're always seeing us throw up the OH, but Urban Meyer went in there and fucked some shit up. It was a shit show. So for Trevor Lawrence to go into that as a rookie and to come out of that being better as he is, he's always been one of the top in the throwing yard, even going through all the controversy. We're seeing guys out there like Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley's of the world. Now they got Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. They have no O-line. So for them to give him this money, they're giving him the responsibility of, you are going to be the sole contributor to this offense. If we are going to be good, it is going to be solely because of you. We don't really have the skill positions, but we have the quarterback. And we all know in the NFL, you need a quarterback if you're going to win games. If you don't have a quarterback, it's going to be hard to compete. And when you say they're overpaying, who else would they have brought in? Are you going to set back that whole clock and do nothing? I know they're bringing in young guys like Ryan Thomas. So they're starting to really try to give him the weapons that he needs. But we have seen this Jags receiving core just be abysmal sometimes. We've seen him on the biggest stage come back from, I think, 28, 29 points against the Chargers and win that game. 27 points. So we saw him, and I think he threw like 3-4 picks, so he had a shitter. And then for him, 4 picks. So for him to come back and win that game, we all kind of say the Chargers just blew it. But at the end of the day, all you remember is the Jaguars came back and won that game. So this is a great foundation move. They got the head coach, and so to have a head coach like Dougie P and a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, the Jacksonville Jaguars are light years away of other teams that don't have that quarterback, because you can't truly start moving and grooving until you have that play caller.
Yeah, and as Kevin had mentioned, those 4 interceptions that Trevor Lawrence threw against the Chargers in the playoffs, they were all in the first half. And then they came back from down 27 points. So, Jaevon, I'm tossing it to you next, because as a fan of the 49ers, a fan who might have sacrificed a Super Bowl for the richest city in sports, nevertheless, the 49ers will have to pay Brock Purdy soon. So how did you feel about this contract, Jaevon? Because as a 49ers fan myself, it made me sick, because I know that the Niners are going to have to top that now.
60-60. Show me the money.
That's why Kevin loves this deal. He loves the Trevor Lawrence deal because it all goes back to the San Francisco 49ers. I was a little astonished by the number. He basically got the same exact contract that Joe Burrow got, and Joe Burrow, I think all of us can agree, is more accomplished than Trevor Lawrence. I think they're basing this contract off of potential and not what Trevor Lawrence has actually done. They believe that he can be this, that, and the third, but he has shown that he is not this, that, and the third. Obviously, he has the one playoff win, but I've seen a lot of graphics of his numbers being compared to a guy who is notoriously known on the show, in Daniel Jones, and their numbers are damn near identical, and it is alarming on the price point that he got. Now, I get the CBA, and pretty much every year the salary cap goes up and up because, all this TV money, all the gambling money, and, pretty much all that just goes up. So you're kind of basing it off of the old CBA level. This contract was signed here during this year. So it's all relative to when the contract was signed because the market's going to reset when most of these younger quarterbacks get signed. But kind of shocked that he got 55 a year, but I feel like that's kind of like the starting point. Me and Kevin, he texts me every day about whether it's Brandon Ayuk or whether it's he calls it the fire sale. This is kind of what Kevin likes to call it about, this guy just got paid this. That means that you're going to have to pay your guy this, that, and the third, and this is what's going to has to happen. Oh, you can't pay all these guys? Everybody's for sale. He's going over here. He's going this over here. You can't pay Ayuk, send him this way. It's the fire sale. Everything must go, as Kevin said. So that's why he's grinning and smiling.
Didn't Ayuk say he better leave?
For everyone that's listening to
They don't want me.
Yeah, so that's a whole another story for another day. But going back to the actual Trevor Lawrence deal, is Trevor Lawrence the third best quarterback in his division?
You can't say that yet. We only saw 3 games of Anthony. You got to give Trevor the respect.
Who's in his division again?
I said third. I didn't say fourth.
Who's in his division again?
So we have C.J. Stroud, there's Trevor Lawrence, we have Anthony Richardson, we have Will Levis.
Hold on.
Get him, Shaun. Get him.
He's behind C.J. Stroud.
Okay, but I just want to make sure that I was
It's an
understanding
argument.
what Toddy was laying out there because
I'm not
when
saying
you
it's
say-
true. I think Trevor Lawrence is the second best quarterback in this division, but if Anthony Richardson gets a full season,
We
things
haven't seen that full play yet. Like that.
Okay.
Tide
Okay, so
fans are going to Evans going to scream for the Evans better than Trevor Lawrence. That's another story here or there, but I mean, we saw Trevor Lawrence kind of crumble down the stretch towards the end of the year. We saw him in the playoffs a couple years ago. Didn't have the greatest game in the world. Goes up against Patrick Mahomes, has a chance. Patrick Mahomes gets injured in that game. So it's kind of prime time setup for you to win, and he did not perform. So what have you done for me lately, Lee? As the guy above me always says, he has not performed to what he can be. It's like I said, it's going to be all projection. Now, Trevor Lawrence can. I'm saying all this now. Trevor Lawrence can go out, win the division, win a playoff game, do all this and the third, but we just have not seen that yet. So, would like to have seen a little bit more for the price point that he got. But I guess now everyone's going to try and reset the market with their new hot young.
Always.
So,
Dak's sitting back happy. He can't wait.
bro, Dak wants 60 million. That is crazy. He doesn't play
he's got
for
to be a
money.
free agent.
Doesn't play for money. Talked to our guy Jew over the weekend. The guy, we had a little chat about Dak. I was like, is Dak saw what Trevor got. Is Dak going to get 60? And he was like, I thought he doesn't play for money. And I was like, I thought that's what he said too. So, I mean, Dak's over there. He's grinning, counting his chips.
Okay, well, I'm just glad that Toddy wasn't implying that Will Levis was better than Trevor Lawrence because when you first were laying that out there and Kevin had mentioned, oh, yeah, Anthony Richardson has only played 3 games, I really thought Toddy was trying to say that Will Levis was better than Trevor Lawrence and was on whatever.
We're talking about Anthony Richardson being one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. We had a segment last year. Everything's starting to come back to me because we had our best takes, worst takes debate last week. And we were talking about the best situation and who had the better situation. Was it I think it was C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson. And I think I did say Anthony Richardson just based off of what he was able to do, what he has the potential to do with Shane Steichen, what Shane Steichen was able to provide with Jalen Hurts. And I thought Anthony Richardson is a better athlete than Jalen Hurts or what he potentially can be. So, yeah, man. I mean, he's a guy that can just jump out off of the television screen when you watch him
Who?
play. Anthony Richardson. And I believe if healthy, he could potentially be the second best quarterback in this division. So, Shaun, if you want to write that on a piece of paper, you can write that on a piece of paper if you'd like.
So just to clarify, and I will add this right below the one that I wrote down earlier, and the quotes that I wrote down earlier.
We saw him pull out the piece of paper.
Got to make sure that I read it to you, Jaevon, so then you can confirm.
I don't know if Vaughn has the worst takes. You got the most written down.
Jaevon, well, it's because anytime he says something, he's like, Shaun, you can write it down. I'm telling you now. And that's why Jaevon's all over the notepad. But so the quote from earlier was, the 76ers won't beat the Celtics in the 2025 playoffs, even if they get Paul George. Correct?
Yes.
All right.
We'll keep that to they won't ever beat the Celtics. That's what he really was saying.
You can say that too. Because it has happened.
Okay. ... in all caps, ever. Okay. And so, Jaevon, just so I get it completely right, I know, like, the way that you framed it was like a Shaun way of framing it by saying, like, he could, he should,
is he?
Not he will. So what is the actual declarative statement that I can write down on the notepad? Are you saying
best player?
Richardson will be better than Trevor Lawrence after a full year of health?
Okay. All right, there you go.
Yeah, it looks so.
Oh, damn. That's what we doing?
Well, that's a big asterisk because
which is the truth, man. I don't think a lot of people are like kind of just sweeping him under the rug.
What's the truth? The boy hadn't even played him in the playoffs. We're talking about him in the playoffs.
Two of them. So I'm just
gotta stay healthy.
Real quick, I was gonna go.
Well, I will toss it to you in just one moment. But while we are on this topic, Jaevon, like let's not. It's not like Anthony Richardson had a torn ACL and then he was out for the year and it was just the one injury and it is what it is. He had multiple injuries. Like he had a concussion and then he had another injury that I think was he had a shoulder injury. And so it's like concussions happen.
You got to learn how to
slide. Shoulder injury. Yeah, he does have to learn to slide. And we'll see if he actually ended up learning how to slide. So Garry, as I write down
this offseason, I think he's going to be solid.
I guess we shall see. So as I write down another Jaevon quote, Garry, what did you think about the Jaguars giving a contract extension to Trevor Lawrence?
Shit, as they should. They ain't got no one else saving their ass. So they
Mac Jones?
They know what it was before. The Jaguars were laughing stock just a year or two ago. Even when they beat my Steelers a long time ago in the playoff game, they had no one at quarterback.
The Duval Jets?
Yeah, I don't know what they had going on. That's when they had Ramsey on that team. So they ain't been relevant since, really. So, and this guy has brought all the relevancy to this team and has made them an actual scary team, a team that you should be, you got prepared for, a team that you can rock with because they got one of them guys. Like Shaun mentioned, he was anointed to one of those guys coming in. He has pretty much proven it, in my opinion, in terms of he not no joke, obviously, in this league. As we've seen multiple times, you can be a great player, but in NFL, you do need some complementary pieces. So he might need some things added to his team to reach that next level. But in terms of him handling his business and doing what he needs to do, like Kev would say, he walks in that thing and, he handles his business regular season and in the postseason. So he hasn't won the championship just yet, but for him being so young, Jags are smart, man. Get this thing out the way before the number keep bumping up. The Niners better take note. You better go pay them before the number keep bumping up because as we keep seeing, if you're a great player in some sort of way, your number is going to be at or above whatever the market value is right now because we know quarterbacks are at a premium. And so if you don't have a quarterback, you can, wish your season goodbye pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what it is. He deserves it, and I wasn't really shocked because in my opinion, every quarterback that comes up is probably going to beat that number. And if that team thinks there's some sort of a franchise, even though there might not be a franchise player, they're going to have to pay him as such if you want to keep him for the long term when your time comes. So that's pretty much what it is. That's how the NFL is trending right now.
Before we move on, Shaun, Toddy said that Anthony Richardson was the truth. This man completed 50 passes and threw 3 touchdowns. 4 games. And he's the truth. He had a game where he completed 6 passes.
It was rookie year.
6 passes, he only threw 10. I'm just saying.
The truth
is a little hard. That's like a Bam Adebayo is better than AD tape.
Oh my gosh.
Gary, that's never going to be lived down. Never mind, 42-7.
And you still keep changing that better than AD. That playoff run. Can you at least say that playoff run if you say shit?
Doesn't make it any more true. And the only thing I really got to say about Trevor Lawrence is I think Kevin really hit the nail on the head where it's like, who were the Jaguars going to get that was going to replace Trevor Lawrence and be better or about the same? They had two options. Either you pay Trevor Lawrence, who is the best quarterback that you have ever had in franchise history, the best quarterback you have ever had in franchise history.
Respect David Garrard, Shaun.
I don't respect David Garrard. I don't respect, what is it, Mark Bulger? Who was the guy who was there in the 90s? It was like Mark Bulger, something like that. I don't respect Mark Brunell. Thank you. I knew it was Mark B. Thank you, Toddy. So I don't respect Mark Brunell. I don't respect David Garrard when it comes to – I don't respect Blake Bortles when it comes to the history of Jacksonville Jaguars quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew is the only one whose name I will put some respect on because, Minshew Mania went nuts, but Trevor Lawrence is leaps and bounds better than Minshew Mania ever was, ever could be. The thing about Trevor Lawrence is he still has a lot of potential. That was the thing about – Toddy, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I was like, can Kev look up who the best Jags quarterbacks ever are?
I mean, we just named all three of them. Other than Trevor Lawrence, like we just named all three of them: Mark Brunell, David Garrard, and Blake Bortles. Like those are the three most notable quarterbacks in Jacksonville Jaguars history. And so you either pay the guy who's the best QB you've ever had, and that you invested the number one overall pick in, or you decide to move on, be cheap. And then you are basically hitting the reset button and you start all over. And then what do you know? You're eventually going to have to pay a quarterback if he's good enough. And so this was a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, the sticker tag might be a little more than people expected, but the NFL is all about supply and demand. Everyone wants and needs a quarterback. And if your quarterback is above Daniel Jones level, then that means that you're going to keep resetting the market. And that's why, even though I don't believe Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the NFL, when he gets paid, he will be paid like he was, because that's just how it goes. You keep resetting the market. Jimmy G was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at one point in time. So that's just how it goes. Any final thoughts on this segment, guys, before we move
Byron
on?
Leftwich is another guy, too.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence is the second best quarterback in Jaguars history. I know we're all forgetting Big Dick Nick played there for a year.
Oh, of course.
How many other quarterbacks got a statue somewhere, huh? That's all I'm saying.
The first game after the Super Bowl when Nick Foles, like after the Super Bowl run, he was balling. And then I think he broke like his collarbone or something like that. That was it after.
Yeah, man. Big Nick.
Yeah. Signed a huge deal. I think it was like almost like $100-some million deal.
I like how we say big deal, $100 million.
And then
How times have changed.
And then he broke his collarbone. Yeah, that was crazy.
All right, Kevin. It's